AI is going to replace 92 million jobs. And everyone's like, don't worry about it, just develop new skills. But there's a huge problem. So, the big report that came out about this was basically there are three new skills that you have to master if you want to survive in the new job climate: carbon intelligence, virtual intelligence, and AI proficiency. Q, what do any of those mean? How do you measure those skills? I'm calling BS on this, guys. I think that there's going to be a huge talent gap and nobody's going to know how to fill it. So, yeah, what skills? Beats me.
You've said you won't hire any more coders at Salesforce. And you've said today's CEOs will be the last to manage all human workforces. What does this mean for businesses?
Well, I think I just had a meeting, coming from a meeting with my head of engineering, and we're looking at productivity levels of 30 to 50% this year in key functions like engineering, coding, support.
You're saying
service.
AI is doing 30 to 50% of the work?
AI is doing 30 to 50% of the work at Salesforce now. And I think that will, continue. I think that all of us have to get our head around this idea that AI can do things that before, we were doing, and we can move on to do higher value work.
AI will increasingly replace repetitive jobs, not just for blue collar work, but a lot of white collar work.
AI isn't just coming for your job. It's already doing it, quietly and efficiently behind the scenes. If your work involves emails, Excel, scheduling, writing, selling, editing, researching, designing, predicting, diagnosing, driving, coding, or even giving advice, there's already a machine doing it faster, cheaper, and more consistently than you ever will. You might think your job requires a human touch, but that's a fantasy sold to people to keep them calm. AI doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough for employers to justify replacing you. And it already is in many cases. Call centers are replacing reps with chatbots that handle thousands of queries without bathroom breaks. Writers are being replaced by models that generate SEO blogs in seconds. Junior designers, coders, marketers, translators, they're all being quietly edged out. Even if AI doesn't replace you directly, it'll make your job so efficient that your employer won't need as many of you. This isn't innovation, it's elimination. You can either adapt to ride the wave, or you can wait until it crashes on your head. Either way, the wave is real, and it's already here.
What sort of jobs would be lost to AI?
Basically, chauffeurs, truck drivers, anyone who does driving for a living, their jobs will be disrupted more in the 15 to 20 year time frame. And many jobs that seem a little bit complex, chef, waiter, a lot of things will become automated. We'll have automated stores, automated restaurants, and altogether in 15 years, that's going to displace about 40% of jobs in the world.
40% of jobs in the world will be displaced by technology?
I would say displaceable.
What does that do to the fabric of society?
Well, in some sense, there's the human wisdom that always overcomes these technology revolutions. The invention of the steam engine, the sewing machine, the electricity, have all displaced jobs, and we've gotten over it. The challenge of AI is this 40%, whether it's 15 or 25 years, is coming faster than the previous revolution.
More than 40% of workers are at serious risk of being displaced by AI within the next 10 to 20 years, not because of science fiction, but because of simple economics and advancing technology. We're not just talking about factory jobs or truck drivers. White-collar professionals like analysts, lawyers, teachers, paralegals, financial advisors, and even parts of the medical field are on the chopping block. AI doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to be cheaper and fast enough for employers to justify reducing headcount. The result will be mass unemployment, widening inequality, social unrest, and a global labor crisis we're completely unprepared for. This isn't a smooth transition into utopia. It's going to be 15 to 25 years of economic chaos, political instability, and a desperate scramble to redefine what work means in an AI-driven society. Until we establish a new social contract, one where AI serves humanity, not capital, we'll see a world where billions are left behind, governments struggle to respond, and mental health collapses under the weight of purposelessness. It's not a question of if, it's how bad we let it get before we act.
So let me give you an example. My niece answers letters of complaint to a health service. It used to take her 25 minutes. She'd read the complaint and she'd think how to reply and she'd write a letter. Now she just scans it into a chatbot. It writes the letter. She just checks the letter. The whole process takes her 5 minutes. That means she can answer 5 times as many letters. And that means they need 5 times fewer of her. That will mean they need less people. In other jobs, like in healthcare, they're much more elastic. So if you could make doctors 5 times as efficient, we could all have 5 times as much healthcare for the same price. There's almost no limit to how much healthcare people can absorb. They always want more healthcare if there's no cost to it. There are jobs where you can make a person with an AI assistant much more efficient, and you won't lead to less people because you'll just have much more of that being done. Most jobs, I think, are not like that.
AI will replace most jobs, and we are not ready for it. Self-driving cars are replacing drivers. AI models are replacing software developers. Robots are replacing factory workers. Jobs will be disappearing, and the hard part is that we cannot really predict which ones will disappear and when. Europe needs to prepare for these big changes, and the way to do it is to fundamentally transform education.
The current education system is a relic, designed in the 19th century to produce obedient factory workers, not critical thinkers or adaptive innovators. The standard classroom model, rigid schedules, memorization, standardized tests, and hierarchical authority, was never meant to prepare children for the volatile, fast-changing digital economy we now live in. Yet, we've dragged this outdated system into the 21st century with minor cosmetic changes, while the world has undergone multiple revolutions. Children today are learning faster and more effectively online through YouTube, AI tutors, and real-time global platforms than they are in school, where their curiosity is often punished, not cultivated. Students can now access Ivy League-level knowledge for free, while colleges charge life-altering debt for degrees that are quickly becoming obsolete. According to the World Economic Forum, by 2030, over 1 billion jobs will be transformed by technology, and most students currently in university won't have a relevant job waiting for them when they graduate. The system is so far behind, it should have been completely overhauled by the early 2000s when the internet, automation, and digital platforms began reshaping every major industry. But it wasn't. And that delay has a purpose. Governments and the top 1% benefit from keeping education locked in the past. An outdated system produces predictable, controllable labor. Individuals trained to follow rules, not question systems. Changing education would mean empowering an entire generation to challenge the status quo, demand better governance, understand finance, disrupt industry, and become competitors to those who currently hold power. You don't see heads of state pushing for curriculum in coding, AI ethics, creative problem solving, emotional resilience, or independent thinking, because an aware, adaptable population would no longer feed the machine in the same way. It's not incompetence, it's design. Governments talk about skills of the future while underfunding innovation in public education and allowing private tech platforms to take the lead in teaching kids. We've been out of factories for decades, but our schools still run like assembly lines because the top class still profits from mass-producing compliant, economically dependent citizens. Until education is restructured around adaptability, autonomy, and technological fluency, the next generation will be entering a world that no longer needs what they've been trained to offer.
There is a school in the US that has introduced AI, and in 2 hours, some kids are getting as much as 2 years ahead of where a normal American kid is at that time. 2 hours. Because after that, the rest of the time they spend on quote unquote life skills.
The unemployment rate for new college grads has recently surged, and some economists say businesses are now replacing entry-level jobs with artificial intelligence. Here's CBS's Ali Bauman.
Front gate.
22-year-old Michael Macaluso just earned his degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Connecticut.
Feel good?
But this summer, he's back helping manage his hometown pool. He hasn't found a job in his field despite applying for nearly 200 positions. Did you have any expectations about what the job market would be like when you graduated?
I was told by a lot of people that I was going to get a job right out of college, and then all of a sudden, there's no jobs.
New research finds now, for the first time ever, the unemployment rate among recent college graduates has exceeded the national unemployment rate, ballooning to 6.6% over the past 12 months. Oxford Economics' Matthew Martin.
This kind of goes against what you would expect. Those with higher educational attainment usually have better employment prospects than those with less educational attainment.
Martin's team believes companies are eliminating formative entry-level jobs, the work handed over to artificial intelligence. Tech companies are leading the way.
AI is permeating every aspect of our lives.
Nariman Farvardin, the president of Stevens Institute of Technology, says his school has been preparing for the AI revolution for the last 10 years. He expects disruption throughout the workforce will be bigger than the disturbance brought on by the introduction of the internet, and it could last up to 15 years.
I think AI has the potential to either augment or maybe totally replace jobs that are physically or cognitively repetitive. These jobs are not only done by entry people. There are certain people who do repetitive things for all of their life. Those jobs are in jeopardy.
Kaylee Totlin just graduated from Stevens with her computer science degree. She did an internship with Verizon as a sophomore, and the company has now hired her.
I think something that's important with entry-level jobs is the networking and the opportunities that you make from it.
Farvardin says his message to students today is the same as it always has been. Get an education that will last a lifetime.
If you think anyone can do your job, probably AI can do your job. And if AI can do your job, you're already replaceable. You just haven't been replaced yet. We're not at the beginning of the AI shift. We're deep in it. The tools are out, the infrastructure is scaling, and the economic incentives are too massive to ignore. There's no going back. Either you learn to leverage AI to multiply your value, or you cling to systems that were built for a world that no longer exists. Hoping AI goes away is like hoping the internet was a phase. We've opened Pandora's box. Education, finance, healthcare, media, even government is being restructured at the foundational level, and those still operating by old rules are walking off a cliff with a blindfold on. This isn't disruption. This is a full-blown collapse of how we thought work, value, and survival functioned in society. Parents, especially in third world countries, are unknowingly sealing their children's fates by clinging to outdated beliefs. For many, the dream is still go to university, get a degree, get a job, live a stable life. That formula stopped working 25 years ago. It's not that degrees have no value, it's that they no longer guarantee anything. Employers are prioritizing skills, adaptability, and AI literacy. Meanwhile, kids are spending years memorizing outdated material for jobs that won't exist. In trying to give their kids a better future, these parents are walking them backwards into a dead economy. And the system feeds on that belief, because it keeps millions enrolled, in debt, obedient, and distracted. The longer we pretend the old world isn't collapsing, the harder the crash will be. Denial is no longer just ignorance, it's complicity.
AI is the threat. AI is a million times more of a threat than fucking clearing out Home Depot parking lots. It's insane.
I don't know who these billionaires expect to be selling things to if no one has a job. That's the part that keeps getting me. It's like, I don't understand if we're replacing. So I had, before social media took off, I had a data analyst position where my job was to take documents and input them into Excel spreadsheets that could then be printed out to be handed to managers who did not know how to read the initial documents. My job literally was to translate documents to old people who did not understand both Excel spreadsheets or how to format a PDF. That's why I had a job. And I loved the job. It was great. Every day, work came in, work came out. It was awesome. And my boss kept being like, you need to do this. You need to become better. And then one day I had to take a meeting because my boss hated taking meetings with a product integration company. And they were like, they thought I was my boss. And I was like, whatever, I'll let you believe that. And then they proceeded to show me an AI device that would make my job disappear.